Okay, so here we go. We always have this. Thanks for all the. Boy, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Now, for all your gift-giving needs, here we go. Bingo.
Let's get this party started.
Whoa! A deer, a talking deer.
I'm Bucky.
Looks like so much fun. I say deer, you say pong.
It's DeerPong.
Fill 3 cups, look, I won. It's new DeerPong. Batteries not included. Assembly required.
Has anyone seen my butt?
DeerPong.
DeerPong. The talking deer could go beyond the bass on the wall. I forget what that was called, Wally Bass or something. Get your order in now because these are gonna go like hotcakes. I mean, what could be better than DeerPong? They don't even need ping pong paddles or a table. You can play this in a closet, and probably you should. Okay, now we're gonna go to the complete opposite. I didn't get any thumbs up on that. We're going to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Okay, what I want to talk about this morning is Mark Ritson, and Mark always, like I said, always challenges my brain. So I do see, hey Susan, hey Keith, this is great that I get to see who people are. If you comment, I can see a little bit of you there, just barely. Okay, so if you comment, I can get a little perspective. My screen is all messy. I don't know why everything's all goofy, but it is. But I'm here, and that's all we care about. Okay, so Mark, this week, I tried to get this in yesterday, but it just wasn't enough. Thank you for the thumbs up. Bothism is the cure for marketers' fascination with pointless conflict. And he starts with the question, Doug Draper says, why do creatives think they're the only ones who get ideas? He asked rhetorically. Creativity is a key aspect for marketing success, and great creatives are worth their weight in gold. Stephen Yu was even talking about creative this week. Can you believe it? Stephen is the data scientist guy that I really, really like. Okay, but the idea that best ideas always come from two people chained to a desk until midnight versus everyone else in the organization is highly improbable. Right, got it? Okay, there's a similar story for strategy. You know, Dilbert was there. The boss hired a strategy guy, and every meeting he would say, but is that consistent with our strategy? And Scott Adams, who writes back and forth with me sometimes, is convinced that strategy is something to talk about when you have nothing else to say. Okay? But anyway, so there's this opposition of ideas, right? There's an opposition of short-term, long-term, and we're going to go over that right away. And there's an opposition between digital and traditional, and there's oppositions, all these oppositions, right? There's selling and brand creativity. You got that? There's the dualism. The devil pushes us into dualism, the Hegelian dialectic, right? And so Mark is saying that he stole this idea of dueling ideas. The rational view, he says that Jim Collins, did a great job in the book, The Wrong and the Real of Marketing Effectiveness, which is right up here. We'll go to that. The Wrong and the Real of Marketing Effectiveness. Actually, this is Gracie Kite, but maybe she's writing a synopsis. I didn't understand that in Mark's article. And here's a famous diagram, and this shows short-term selling promotions. You know, this week only, you know, or 30% off, or some irresistible deal. And that's a good way to spike sales, and then they peter out. Then you need a new promotion, then they peter out, and blah, blah, blah. All it goes. But if you want really long-term growth, you need some consistent messaging, brand building, long-term sales growth. So in the beginning, the short-term wins, the short-term special wins, but in the long term, the brand building wins. Now this is a theoretical graph, and Grace points that out, and I think rightly so. This is a theoretical graph, and it may not actually reflect much of anything in the real world. That's the great part about economics. You got no scale on here, right? No scale on the time and the sales. There's very little serious discussion of this. And, that's great when budgets are unlimited, but when budgets are limited, CMOs don't last in their jobs and CFOs are skeptical. And we've had a number of shows about CFOs, and if you want to see the shows, go over to YouTube, and there's a CFO show listed there. Okay, so the chart is a model. It's designed to educate, not describe. Okay, so there's a limit to what sales activation can do for growth, and beyond that limit, you need brand building. That sounds good, but how do you execute? And so Grace has some ideas here that she says, are maybe from the real world, where we get brand building TV goes along, and then price-focused events go along, and they work in conjunction with each other, which is what Mark is talking about, doing things that work in conjunction with each other. So here is always on digital. There's a concept that if your search SEO and your optimization and your pay for click is working, that you can capture the people that are in the market right now. There's a theory of that. But if you don't sell long term, if you don't make a case for your brand, just getting people to your site, even Google says it's a 50% bounce rate, 80% if you're sending them to a landing page. There may be some room for brand building to boost that selling process once you get them in the door. All that's great. What I've noticed on these articles, and here's the combination, the power of combining short and long-term effects. And so, these graphs are great, but and Grace points out that if you don't have some short-term sales, you're not going to get to the long-term brand building. And I think that's right too. Okay. Now, all of that aside, let's go back here. And here's Tom Roach. Tom Roach says there's all these versuses: big, small, creativity, technology, intuition, data, purpose, profit, top funnel, bottom funnel, brand, product, meaning, performance, intangible. And I have to say that in my early career, that's kind of what I did. I just said, we can have, you have this, you've been told advertising, and, I learned advertising from the Bewitched show, where they were always coming up with stuff at the last second, and it worked great, or something like that. Hollywood's version of the advertising world. And that kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. And so I would contrast direct marketing, heuristic testing, scientific advertising, as Claude Hopkins says, in Scientific Advertising, and you can get that book on scientificadvertising.com. But one of the things that Tom points out is that Google, Facebook, Amazon, and other platforms have given millions of businesses of every size and type easy self-service access to giant direct response advertising ecosystems. Now, direct response and direct marketing are worlds apart, I would say, but let's just go on. And so there's a growing supply of performance marketing specialists. I get solicited on LinkedIn every day. And a dwindling supply of brand marketing specialists. Think Bewitched, think Darren or Daryl or whatever his name was. Too many people, especially in the brand side of the divide, wrongly assume that because short-termism is a bad thing, long-termism must be a good thing. They have magical thinking that if they do something big and expensive as a one-off, then close their eyes, sales will come. That's the Apple 1984 model. Remember, they blew all their ad budget for a year on one TV commercial during the Super Bowl, and it worked. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know who Apple was. Okay? It can work. I'm not saying it can't work. Okay? That's important to know. But it doesn't usually work. For every one of those stories, there's probably 100 you don't hear because they're gone. Okay? And some marketers appear to act like selling's a dirty word to them, right? How am I doing today? I'm doing good. I'm having a great day, to be honest. We got a breakthrough with one of our clients in how to figure out their customers better. After a year, we got a breakthrough yesterday. Okay, and so Tom argues you need a balance. You need to drive demand, and you also need to have conversion. Okay? Now, if you've heard me talk about the Lovesac case study, in that one we used short-term promotions to test and clearly see the downstream benefit of certain selling propositions, that certain propositions were much stronger at conversion than others. We applied those first to our customers to get them back to the store in mail. Mail also has an advantage of being more long-term. You know, right now I've got on my desk here, I've got a Lands' End catalog that I mean to look at. Lands' End Men, right? I like that, right? And I got two of them on a chair at home. I'm going to open them one of these days when I have the time, when I have the interest, when I'm ready to buy more fleeces, right? Because I love Lands' End fleeces. It has a persistence. It's been on my desk for weeks, right? It's not just a one-off thing. You like that? Mail gives you an integration of these ideas, and it's not even mentioned. Let's go over here to wrong and real marketing. Back here. It's in Tom's thing. He talks about different media. Short-term growth sometimes leads to long-term growth, but long-term growth always leads to short-term growth. Yeah, maybe. And he's got promotions. They tail off. Brand building also tails off if you stop. Okay. There's all these graphs, and they're great. I love the graphs. I'll put links in the comments when I finish. But what I thought was most interesting, I'm trying to find the ultimate, down in the bottom of this, there's actually media examples. Oh, let's get back to Mark Ritson. Okay, so we need to balance these views, okay? The rational view does not accept paradoxes. What's interesting is I've become Eastern Orthodox in my thinking, and they love paradoxes. They just love paradoxes. The whole thing. If you're not into organized religion, go visit an Orthodox church. It looks organized. Go for a couple of years, you'll find out. They love paradoxes. They love both and, not or. And Ritson actually argues that here we go. So here's the media selection, right? The media selection: TV, online video, paid search, radio paid. I mean, it's like, where's mail? But the mailers are the most sustained companies in the world. I'm working with a company right now that started in the 1870s, the oldest catalog in America. They keep going. The only thing that kills old catalogs is stopping. People love to get the catalogs. I'm working with another the old titles know better than to go for these short-term fixes. Okay, there's all these ongoing tensions, and he's right about this. And he says, I can list thousands of brands that need 20 slides to explain oh man, we're getting a lot of clapping on that one. The brand purpose and position and attributes. He said a good one knows their mission in one slide. What's my mission? Direct mail, direct marketing. We need to get you help to prove what advertising works. Okay? So understand and take stock, then go forth and communicate the change. That's the heart of Bothism. We can integrate long-term and short-term in mail because we have a different duration than instant mass media or ongoing social that has very little engagement. We have much higher engagement, so we actually have, and the decision maker in the household looks at the mail. I'm making that case. But finally, we have a labeled data set. So all the power of machine learning can come to bear to analyze the results, which you can't do easily with mass media, with traditional media, or with digital. Attribution is almost impossible, which Tom makes the case over here in the over here in the wrong and short of it. He says attribution is the key, but attribution leans toward the short term. So, I probably, and one other point that Mark makes is that there's everybody in marketing thinks the same. Most of them went to private school. Most of them were, better in school than their average audience. Nothing like junk mail to bring down that homogeneity. You need to be into junk mail. Okay, I've gone on longer. This is a great article. I encourage you to it's going to take you an hour to read these 3 articles. So I boiled it down for you, and I've given you an alternative to Mark, but really worth the time. It'll get your head thinking. In this time of limited budgets, we need to know what's working. We need to be super efficient, but we also need persistent message. We need to make sure our message counts. Go back and watch the Love Sack case study. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye. Oh, I got to keep it going for a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now I'll stop it.